I'm telling you, it's been way easier. It's been the easiest. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's allowing us to do more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's just more organized. House is better. Food's better. Shape's better. More focus, more time on everything else, and like everything is just like teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually surprisingly, I have very little ego in it.
Yeah, I won't lie, man. It's been looking at it from a distance and up close, here and there. Has been
Sometimes I put my foot down. Don't get me wrong.
At the end of the day,
but
you are gabagool, so you're gonna fucking do what you do.
Yeah, but
for the
sometimes
most
it's
part,
needed. Sometimes
no, and I'm not saying it's needed or not. I can't have an opinion on that. That's you. You got to decide.
Yeah.
That's your own house, right? But from what I've seen from a distance, I think it's been probably the best I've ever seen as far as like a relationship context goes, and what. Mood seems to be good. Fucking the house seems to be in order. You know what I mean? Like, literally, like it's cleaner around. It's got that like the feminine touch. Obviously, we've seen that before, but like
not to this
not only that, but yeah, it's more integrated, right? Because you can, at least me as a friend, I can
lower that microphone so we can see that beautiful stash.
Oh yeah, sure. No. Oh yeah. Hold on. Ready?
Yeah.
And now you can see that crispiness.
Very crisp.
Someone's gonna freeze frame this. Like right there.
Just
right there.
Just for you, I'm gonna do this so you can.
Oh damn! You're gonna double up.
I'm gonna double up so you can see yourself.
Pause. Don't ever double me up again. Let's see. Oh shit. Oh damn! I've never had that kind of top level. We've never really trimmed the top that much.
You were never getting engaged.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? I put a good 40 minutes.
Oh, you did? No. That was yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know any other cats that's doing this shit.
I got lubed up pretty good and
for free, dog. It's out of charity. You know what I'm saying? My man lost his forehead in war, and I have to donate to the veterans.
Damn,
you know what I'm saying? Let's go. We'll drop a question with you.
What do you got?
What percentage of your potential, full potential in your life, are you okay staying at?
Oh, that's a really good question. Staying at? I think like a 75, 70%, I'd be like, all right.
Do you think you're at 70%?
No.
What do you think you're at?
I think I'm rocking a solid 55. Maybe 60.
Maybe. What part of your potential do you think you need to increase to get the lagging parts to catch up?
Physical. I think there's been some improvements there, but there's more as far as like potential goes. It's definitely
like you want to have a 6-pack?
I don't know about 6-pack, but there's a.
You want to kick like Bruce Lee? I know that.
Yeah, there's just certain markers for me that I would like to know that I've hit, to be like, all right, you know what, I've achieved that at least once in my life, and I'm like, okay, cool. So yeah, sure, 6-pack's one, but that's just such an aesthetic thing that I'm like, well. I feel like there's more that goes with that, right? So it's like the overall strength and like.
Yeah, I mean, if you got lower body fat, you're pretty healthy.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So like that just anyway. So yeah, the physical is one thing.
You've been getting bigger. I know.
No, yeah. Like there's, like I said, there's been improvements in the last little while because of the consistency and you know, but there is still a lot of room for improvement, and that's why I'm saying like as far as like potential goes, yeah, that's one. The other one, work wise, like professional, there's still some work there to be done.
For sure.
Part of that for me is just figuring out where exactly I want to point myself in, which direction, what path I want to go to the next, 15, 20 years of my professional life. Because that's really my like peak, not only earning performance, like ability, but there's an interesting like convergence where there's you as far as how much knowledge and respect you have in a professional setting, plus where you are at physically. Like at the end of your life, you technically have the most respect in a professional setting, but physically you're not there. You'll talk to guys who've been working for 45 years and you're like, fuck man, you're a library of knowledge. But unfortunately your health is like not where it was when you were 30.
Yes.
You can't travel as much. Like you can't, because you can't have it all. You can't be like the most knowledgeable in your life ever and also physically ever. You know what I mean? Like there's a point where that's converging where you kind of have to be comfortable where like how much do you want to like kind of give up to one side or the other as far as like anyways. But for the next 20 years we're going to be in that point where we're going to kind of like have those things converge. You're only going to get better at what you do. And physically, you're still in pretty good shape. And you're going to be probably in good shape for the next like 10, 15 years as long as you're healthy. And
Bro, I hate to break it to you. I'm going to be like 68 with abs.
I hate to break it to you, but there's other shit that might happen in your body that you can't control.
That's all right.
So it's like, realistically speaking, peak Armon physically is not at 68.
No.
That's what I'm talking about.
No.
So if we talk about like,
Yeah.
logical peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can't be healthier than like the rest of the people out there, right?
For sure.
But that's so. Anyways, so yeah, professional. That's one, and yeah, there's like the other stuff, but I don't feel like it's like I'm behind or anything. It's just stuff that'll come later. So like family stuff and like this and like that and all the other parts of life. So yeah, 55, 60 right now, I'd say.
I think for some industries, depending on what the industry is and how much repetition you can have. I mean, if you are a salesperson and you have to understand a few thousand systems and how they work, it might not come as easy as other fields where you can master it, not to a master level, but to a level where you're outperforming older people. And this is what I'm referring to. As long as you can be ahead on schedule and be proactive, there's a certain amount of outwork you can do in majority of the fields. There's some fields where just the information intake will just take a certain amount of time to master. Some more than others. But in a lot of engineering fields, there's an outline to follow. That there's the basics, there's the schematics that always happen over and over and over again. Fundamental basics.
Yep.
I think in my field, it's rather, when you get older, you get lazier almost. And yes, you are an information of knowledge, you are a library of knowledge, but that being said, you're also slower. You're also don't have the same motivation.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that comes from everything else that's happening in your life. It's like you're older. Physically, generally speaking, when you age, you're going to be less motivated over you have kids now. So all this, like, like, there's a lot of shit that happens that naturally you're going to kind of slow down just in life. Like, you're not going to be as energetic and as fucking motivated and on it as you were for. Some guys do. Like, don't get me wrong.
Do you know who those guys are, though?
What?
Those guys that still do in their 60s are usually, from my experience, are guys who are the most insecure. They have something to prove even in their 60s.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the evolution of your mind as a male, as you age, you calm down because you have more understanding. So things don't get easier, you just get better at it.
Yeah.
It's just repetition of just daily life. But if you don't think you're getting better at it, even though you are, you're on this constant cycle of trying to prove yourself that you are getting better.
Yeah.
And in majority of the fields that I've been in, the best guys are like the biggest assholes. They never like people. They're skeptical of everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's a bullshit artist to them. Nobody's word is decent. And honestly, those guys are fucking geniuses. I used to have this director of construction at Marcon, Mike Manigello.
Yeah.
And a guy died on my site.
Okay.
A homeless guy fell like 60 feet into basically a hole, shotcrete hole, and like just went fucking head first into it.
Jesus.
And the cops called me at 3:45 on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Mike Manigello called me, and I was in Port Moody. And Mike Manigello called me at 3:55 from White Rock. I met Mike Manigello on site. I was 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
He was like 50 minutes away.
Yeah.
I met Mike Manigello on site at 4:30.
What the fuck?
This guy, absolute asshole.
Yeah.
Would make the Ani Rosanos look like nice guys.
Jesus, dude. That's saying a lot.
Right? This is this is that kind of guy.
Yeah.
But an absolute rock star, 68, still doing 60-hour weeks in his sleep. I don't even know when he sleeps and when he gets up. He's just on top. He's got 70. How many mark on job sites? There's at least like 50, 60 jobs on top of all of that.
Yeah.
Every single one on majority budget. You are like, those are the type of guys, CEO style, those type of guys, super high performers. But you ask a son how good of a father he is.
Yeah.
Hates him.
Yeah.
Hates him. Straight up talk shit about him.
There's so many different types of guys, like as far as, when they get to the end of their professional careers, what kind of people that they become, right?
Yeah.
Like what has life molded them to be? And you and I both worked in industries that, generally speaking, we were the young guys going in.
Oh, yeah. In
every single one. Like in all of my jobs, I was always either the youngest or like one of the youngest. Now it's getting to the point where I'm like getting not as like we're in our fucking 30s. But what that does, at least I feel for me, I don't know for you, but it allows you to see, okay, if there's 10 people in the room in these meetings with companies or whatever, and everyone's like at the end of the 60s, like mid 60s, early 60s, late 60s, that sort of thing. You're like, okay, it kind of allows you to see, as far as like high performers or like guys that are, well respected, that know a lot, this and that, of the people that have been working here 30, 40 years, how many of those people are those groups of individuals, right? And what's their personality type? Like how do they get to this? And you mentioned that kind of the person that you described, you'll definitely see a lot of in the corporate America. But what was interesting for me is that I saw also the guys who just fucking chilled. They that's it. Like they never decided they wanted to keep climbing. They decided, I'm going to stay here and just fucking whatever. They lived like a pretty normal life. They did what they wanted to. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
it's interesting to see that they basically got to a point where they're like, you know what, I'm good, and I'll manage this for the next like 20 years.
So this circles back to original saying, how much of your full potential are you okay staying at?
Yeah.
And those guys are okay with that. For me, I believe certain people have lived a certain amount of treacherous life. And because of that, you don't allow yourself to have a normal life.
Yeah.
Success happens at different ages. It really depends what you catch up on.
Yep.
But there's that drive for the guy who's successful at 50 or the guy who's successful at 20 is very similar to predict, see, examine. There's a certain level of go that is among those guys. And even I would say there's guys who are maybe not an asshole, but a very high performer.
Yeah.
I have bosses that are extreme high performers, 16-hour days, because he loves it.
Yeah.
And he's not an asshole. He's a nice fucking guy. Pretty honest, pays me well, no complaints. But you see this guy go through 100 emails in like, I shit you not, maybe like an hour and a half.
Jesus.
Right? And with brute dominance.
Yeah.
You always have trades that don't do well. You meet up with company owners and you say, hey, you're pulling your guys out. You still got all this work to do. We've paid you 90%. You've only done 60% on site. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And they just chop those guys down. And it's within a few weeks, that trade is totally upside down. And it's the effect of how effective these guys are.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I've lived among people and even witnessed my own family do fairly well, buy houses, sell houses, go on vacations multiple times a year, have decent cars, nothing too crazy, have nice lives. I think I owe it to my family, myself, and this is my personal belief. I owe it to like my mother to outperform her. So she can see and rest in peace seeing me outperform.
Yeah.
Because this is a woman that at one point thought I was going to be like some gang member.
Yeah, sure.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's seen like treacherous things that happened to me, not by my doings, but just by like coincidence of life. Right? So I think that for people who had good lives, maybe they have not much to prove.
It's generally, you know, when you lead a more comfortable life, your drive is generally not as high because your environment is not pushing you to desire more.
Yeah.
The ones that can do that amongst an environment that is comfortable, those are the interesting ones. It's
Those are very interesting people.
Yeah, because you'll see it, right?
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden, like, why is this guy like, you know, trying to do whatever? And everyone's internal motivation is interesting. And anyways, but yeah, I think you bring a good point about that. You know, trying to like prove something or to strive
and it comes
for more.
back to, honestly, if you really want to label it, I would just say I'm a little bit more insecure, and I think those guys are even more insecure.
It's
and that's I think it's good in a way because you can channel it once you understand it as a man. But I think in my early 20s I was really struggling with it because I was like, man, you know, what do I do? You know, who am I? You know, I don't belong. There's all these thoughts and there's all these like conclusions you try to come up with. But in reality, you could honestly just, it works for everybody, right? Some people listen to country music at the gym, right? Some people listen to EDM. Some people listen to whatever, right? It just depends. I saw this one motherfucker and he was skull crushing 2 plates with the easy bar.
Skull crushing?
2 plates with the easy bar. And I want to talk to him. I'm like, yo, what are you listening to? You're shaking up the whole gym.
Yeah.
And he was listening to opera music. You know,
Ave Maria.
He was listening to that shit. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
What do you see?
Yeah.
What was your life like?
Jesus.
You say you got 2 topics? What's up?
Yeah, I got just 2 quick ones. The first one was I met an Iraqi dude who, you know, most people that are not from that area
don't know.
We're going to think that Middle Easterns are Muslim for the most part. I know that there are other religions in the area. Like I've met, you know, Coptic Egyptians. Like, okay, I know there's a Christian. But I was pretty surprised when the guy, he's like, oh yeah, like, no, like I'm Catholic. And I'm like,
Christian.
What do you mean? No, Catholic.
Catholic?
Those
are even more rare.
Yeah. Well, in Iraq, it's interesting. In Iraq,
Georgia as well.
Yeah. In Iraq, you have some Christians, and 80% of all Iraqi Christians are Catholic, but they're not Roman Catholic. They're what's called Chaldean or Chaldean Catholic.
It's Chaldean, just so you know.
What was really interesting to hear from him was that 2 things. One, he's like, life used to be great. Life was amazing. He's like, back in the time of Saddam, like, he left us alone. He's like, he actually like had some respect for the Christians. Like, he let us do his thing, and he actually like had a lot of love for us. And fucking we were thriving. Like my parents had farms, they had businesses, like all this stuff. But it was like ISIS came, fucking like just pulled the rug out from under us. Executing people for different beliefs, fucking chopping off heads, murdering families, just like all this crazy shit. He's like, we literally didn't know if tomorrow was going to be our day. And this is like in 2015, 2016. So he's like, a few months into that, we just literally said, you know what? We can't take this money with us, can't take these businesses, but we got to get the fuck out. Because we literally don't know if tomorrow they're going to be like, it's not, now it's your fucking time, right?
Yeah. I got a good input on this.
Yeah.
I'm from that place, and literally I can name 10, maybe not 10, but maybe 8 different countries that is exactly what it was. Democracy is not for every country.
Yeah.
And democracy without every person in the population that can possibly vote have a very decent idea of economics.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, voting is not really voting. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
People don't understand the parties' legislations, what they mean, who is funding these people.
Yep.
You might even have 2 parties that are funded by the same entity.
Yep. And you don't know it.
You don't know it because you don't know economics, you don't know politics. These are the same people that if you bring up any kind of thing against what is a popular belief, they will call you a communist or whatever. But sometimes you kind of got to be a communist.
Yeah.
Because why is there, you know, a percentage of homeless people in one of the richest cities in the world, right? You got to see why that person chooses something that I or you would not choose on a daily basis. And you just have to understand that a lot of countries sometimes run better on a monarch or a dictator.
Yeah.
because that dictator was chosen within before the U.S. Because the U.S. is, I don't want to get too political, but the U.S. does get involved and place people.
That's not. Yeah, it's not even a huge political statement.
Right.
That's very well known.
This happens, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, you go to Libya, people in Libya would say Gaddafi was legit.
What's crazy is that this is not, I mean, that's not probably not crazy, but to add to your point, this is not the first Iraqi Canadian that has told me that, yo, Saddam was fucking
Not
cool.
terrible.
He's like, maybe I didn't like all the shit that he, whatever. He's like, life under him was good. Life
Same with
under
the Shah.
was great, right? So that was just really cool. The other cool thing that he mentioned was he's like, yeah, when I told him, yo, Catholic, he's like, dog, we were technically like the originals. We're the OGs. Like my ancestors are like the original followers of Christ because we're from that part of the world. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you're fucking right.
You know what's funny? Now this is some crazy shit. Nobody's gonna believe me. Whatever. I sent you a video a while back.
Okay.
And not even a while back. I think 2 days ago.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put it somewhere here. I'm gonna cut it from here, and then we're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
But what it basically says is that the Rothschild took the Bible and had its first version translated.
Okay.
In that translation was where they dictated that they were the chosen people. Before that translation, it wasn't dictating that they were the chosen people or in this area. This is the craziest part, is that in no Bible, Quran, one sec. Okay, we're good. In no Bible or Quran or any religion, except for paganism, has it said anything about superiority. When you say that you're superior than another person, it is wrong. We all have a God that we think his words or its words are correct and are the divine way of doing it. But we also notice that we all have, within a category, we are all have very moral, similar understandings. Even with a really young religion like Islam. It's fairly close. Now, I don't count Scientology and all this. That's not old enough.
Yeah.
But the moral standings of the Bible, original, and Islam, and a lot of religions is very similar. But none of them are saying that one race is superior other than what, man? There's only one. There's only one.
Again, we're trying to make things
right
that are so but are not. So like there's a lot of, I'm no theology scholar, but there's a couple of holes with this. So we're not gonna get too into it. But
hold on, right before we get right to it, I just want to put this on. I'll cut it out, but I think I sent this to you. Now, Now,
So this
and
is
again,
this is why.
you
this
could
is why.
hold on.
No. But,
Hold on.
I'm not
I'm
gonna say what you think I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna
First of all,
retract.
You're fucking blowing out my fucking ears, but okay.
I'm
go.
gonna retract what I said. We're gonna finish in a good 10 minutes. But all I'm asking you is, look it up.
No, I don't have to. The Schofield Bible, fine. But this is why. This is why the Catholics are the best. That's why we're the OGs. Because that translation, sure, that's translation, but that's not the That's not our translation. That's not the fucking Protestants' translation. That's not the whatever. This is a very specific translation of the Bible.
Do you hold the Vatican as a holy place? Right?
Yeah,
as a Catholic?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you know the relations between the Nazis and them and the Rothschild and them? Do you know how
the
they
relations? What do you mean by relations?
Yeah, like the if you look back to World War II, 1900s, there was heavy influence through the Vatican from the Rothschild.
Doing what? Saying what? Influencing what?
Anything.
Like, what do you?
Everything.
Dog, see, these are nothing statements, man.
Okay,
You can't
okay.
be like, the influence. It's like, okay, cool. All right, sure.
This is one.
That's an L.
This
All right,
is
but
one.
what's the influence? No,
This
but
is-
that's not because...
I know. You don't
That's
use
not-
that Bible.
Correct, because,
Okay.
if you listen to what that guy said, we just played it. You're going to have to cut it out, I guess, because whatever. He was saying, this Bible went in circulation in the mega churches in the South. These are the exact kind of Christians that are like fucking... I don't want to call any Christian a fake Christian, but this is like these are the ones that go way the fuck out there.
Yeah.
These are the ones where the guy is being hung from the rafters and brought down and saying, hey, holy Jesus, if you accept my name, I'm going to make you alive again. And some lady in a fucking walker goes, oh my God, I can walk again. This is amazing. That kind of shit is what you see in mega churches.
So do Catholics hate Jews?
Catholics don't hate Jews.
No.
You can't.
Why?
Because they're the OGs. But this is the thing. This idea that being Jewish is a race is a fucking new thing.
No, not a race.
No, but
as
that's
a religion.
as a religion we can't because like they're the OGs. They are.
Isn't that a very good coincidence?
It's not a what do you mean coincidence?
No, but isn't that very favorable for them?
Favorable how?
Well, if they're
Well,
the OGs
okay.
and they're respected by the Christians and Catholics, that's a good portion
So,
of the world.
couple things here. I don't want to get too deep in this, but a lot of stuff I would hope that you know. And I don't know if I'm trying to like create argument here, but I know
yeah.
you know some of these things. So like,
yeah.
yes, the Jews killed Christ, right? So it's like, yo, that was kind of an L. The Jews literally killed Christ. They're
Right.
like, hey, this guy's going around trying to be a preacher,
What was
saying that
what
he's
was
the son
Christ's
of God.
ethnicity?
He was from Bethlehem, but that's not an ethnicity. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there was
I know.
like
He's
being Jewish
yeah.
is not an ethnicity.
I
We need to
understand.
get that through the
But
fucking heads.
what was his ethnicity? Do we know?
Yeah, well, he's Middle Eastern. He's from
Okay.
modern day Israel.
Okay,
Like right now it's Israel, but Bethlehem exists right
Palestine.
now. Well,
Was.
depends what side. Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
but like Bethlehem, so that
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of the world,
okay.
right? At the time, that was Jerusalem
Right.
again, but they all had different provinces. Like you had the Samarites, the fucking Canaanites, the fucking.
Wasn't he a Canaanite?
I don't think he was a Canaanite.
Pretty sure he was Canaanite.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure I know.
I don't think you do.
But anyways,
So you had all these name provinces,
Yeah.
just like we do now.
Yeah.
Name provinces, whatever. Anyways,
Long story
aside
short.
from that, and then at the end of the day, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
the Jews, they're like, hey, we want to crucify this guy, so it's like, okay, that's an L.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
at the end of the day, to be a Catholic, to be a Christian, like you're a whole. One of the main like belief systems is like, love your enemy. You can't hate your enemy. That's like what the fuck.
but they don't have that. You know that.
No, I don't. We don't care. That's not
Okay.
our problem. We as Christians can only control ourselves. Like
You're
you try and kill
Catholics,
me,
you
I'm
mean.
still gonna love you.
okay.
John Paul II.
Yeah.
He had an assassination attempt. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
It's a Turkish guy.
Right.
Saling. What the fuck is he? He had like a double name where it's like the same name twice.
Yeah.
Fucking shot him like point blank. John Paul visits him in prison. His fucking assassin. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
want to try. He's like, I forgive you and I love you. That's what we're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like you say, oh, "Do you guys hate you?" I'm like, well, we can't, because that's the whole point.
I think that is the point. And the whole point is this, is that, yes, for self-growth, that is a good thing to say to the masses as far as a moral value.
It's
to
like
love your enemy.
That's one of the tenets of our whole belief system. So it's like if you don't agree with that, then you may as well just not be. You know what I mean?
100%. But my point is that even though you don't believe it, I think there are times in the world where you do have to hate your enemy. And I think...
Listen, I'm not an idiot, okay? What the fuck were the Crusades? Dog, what were the Crusades?
Yeah.
There were many of them.
Yeah.
Literally went to war. Pope said, you know what? We need an army to fight against the Muslims, to fight against Saladin, because they're encroaching on the Holy Land, and the Holy Land deserves to be Christian. So now we're going to kill them. It's like,
what is the Holy Land now?
That's the whole disputed area. Palestine, Israel, that fucking little tiny part of the world that's bordering on the fucking, on the, what ocean is that? That's the Black Sea, whatever.
Black Sea, yeah.
That was fucking fought on for like 200 years. Back and forth. And
more.
And well, no, because like when the Muslims won it, because the Christians were like, fuck it, it's yours.
Yeah. Triple hand served. You know what I'm saying? Triple hand served on that. 3 religions.
Long ass time, dude.
Went through that place, came through, went through. Just move, Dougie.
I'm telling you, man.
Just move, man.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
The history of that sort of like that conflict is crazy.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I got Palestinians doing tile on my job site. They tell you some crazy shit.
I believe it.
I believe it. Child's gonna be headed is like not even that crazy for them. What was the next one?
The enhanced games.
Yes.
So as an Australian businessman, who came up with the idea of a game with no rules. And not only no rules as far as, testing of athletes go and, performance-enhancing drugs, but actually encouraged. And he actually got funding from, like, Peter Thiel of Palantir and Donald Trump Jr. using his venture capital firm and a few other people. But those are, like, if you look it up on Wikipedia, those are the first names that pop up. The guy managed to pitch it and said, you know what? Let's do this. Let's let people watch the events and the sports that they want to watch, but let's do it to an extreme where it's like, people want to see records broken. People want to see the best athletes in the world unhinged, where they got the best fucking materials to work with, the best drugs, the best everything. Let's make the best possible human athletes. And their first event's gonna be next year in May.
Nice. Let's watch that.
And they've already, probably, but like we'll see if it really takes off. And these kind of like new ventures, sometimes they never get off the ground, but. The reason it came up recently, and the way I found out about it, I don't know about you, but James Magnuson. He's a former retired, I think he's New Zealand or Australian swimmer. He's 35. No, now he's 35 years old. Retired, I think, 7 years off competition.
Yeah, something like that.
And at the time when he was at his peak, he was like top 3 fastest freestyle sprinters in the world. So he's already like, you know what I mean?
And he was around the Phelps era, if I'm not mistaken.
He was around the Phelps era, and he never got the world. I think he had the world record at one point, but at that time, world records were being swapped like fucking trading cards. Yeah. Anyways, there was this big $1 million challenge from the founder of the Enhanced Games. Said whoever can break the 50-meter world record will get like $1 million. The first one to do it. So James Magnuson was like, yo, like I went on test, I went on peptides, I went on this and that. Posted a photo of him looking just like a unit.
Jacked, right? And he's tall, so it's hard to get. It's hard to get that jacked.
But what's funny is that he didn't actually win the challenge. It was another dude who looks nothing like him, just some fucking whatever.
Well, people don't understand. For buoyancy, muscle mass doesn't always mean you're better.
It's as a sprinter, it's tricky because you're not actually buoyant when you're sprinting.
For
your
sure.
Speed is carrying you across the water.
For sure.
It's not actually about buoyancy at that point.
But there is so there's drag when you get too heavy.
Correct. Yeah. Well, no, not also, but like
there's also issues with flexibility.
Yeah, there's flexibility, but it's also like, how big are you going through the water as far as drag goes. Yeah. So anyways, really cool. And James Magnuson, the reason it's got viral is because he was saying like, yo, every athlete needs to be doing this. Like, you need to make your money, blah, blah, this and that. So he was trying to encourage people to do it, but not many people actually went for it.
I think if you perform, you don't need to do crazy drugs.
Yeah. So
it just depends on your body style.
The two sports are going to do swimming and athletics.
Yeah. Guess what I just bought right now?
See how that goes. What? Fucking test?
You wish, Playboy.
Test 400?
Look what just got delivered to me.
Oh, sick. Nice, dude.
Yeah. I'm going to start doing like 20, 30 laps
That's
a
good.
a
That's
week.
good.
Going back to
That's-
MMA Tuesday.
that's really good cardio.
Tuesday, Thursdays. Catch me doing Muay Thai.
Hell yeah, dude.
Be fucking soccer kicking guys in the ball sack. Let's go. Give me some last words, man. It's your fucking engagement, you little piece of shit.
Tomorrow, that's right. Can't wait to see you and everybody
Yeah.
else is going to be there. I don't got a good one. You sent me with one.
I'm going to say something real quick.
Okay.
The biggest life lesson I ever learned was that I never had enough discipline in anything. And the older I got, the more I realized I was lacking. And the hardest part of all this is that I realize even if I do all I can right now, I will never, ever reach my full potential. And that's the saddest part of this life. We're out.
Peace.